This third video I'm doing today, or maybe it's the first if this is the first one you watched, is about incorporating the importance of vocabulary in reading comprehension. So I want to talk to you about what to do if you're reading and there's words you don't know, and how to develop a way of learning what those words are. Because if you stop every time you don't know a word and you look it up in the dictionary, you're going to waste your time. And it's sometimes just better to move fast. So let's talk about it, okay? Context clues. Context clues are words or phrases in a text that help determine the meaning of an unknown word. So in linguistics, there's something called the X-band test, which is if I take this word out and I replace it with another word and that sentence works, then that word and the word I don't know should be similar meanings in theory or similar parts of speech. So that's something we can do. So identifying context clues is active reading and analyzing the surrounding text. You got to look for synonyms, antonyms, examples, or definitions of the unknown term. So one of the things is like I'll watch a murder show with my wife. We'll be watching, and the person will say, "Oh, I think this is a digger," and my wife will be like, "What's that?" And then the person on the screen will be like, "Do you mean that it's a blah blah blah?" Which is a blah blah blah, and it's called an exposition dump. And people will explain what it is. But my wife likes to ask before they do it. And I'm like, just be patient. Be patient. You will find out. They will tell you. So sometimes, if there's a word you don't know, read the next sentence. They may tell you what the word is. Also understand, like if it's for a reading test, that's the word they're probably going to test you on. If it's a word that you really don't know, that's the word they're probably going to be testing you on. Also, pay attention to the overall meaning and grammatical structure of the sentence. It can also help you understand. Is it talking about something that happened in the past? So maybe if it's something that happened in the past, it's related to something in an old-timey thing. And you can start to break it down and look for clues that way. Definition clues are where they give you the definition of the word in itself. Synonym clues are words or phrases that have similar words to the unknown word. So if they're like, "Oh, Richard was a very verbose teacher with a large vocabulary." Well, large vocabulary is a synonym of verbose. And so that gives you an idea what verbose may mean. Antonyms. That was an astute observation, not at all a dumb one. So we know that astute and dumb are opposites. So astute can mean smart. Example clues, you get the idea. Experience clues, using prior knowledge and life experience to determine the meaning. So if I'm talking and we're having a conversation about scuba diving and I say, "Oh, I'm worried about my regulator," you'll know it's probably about something with scuba divings. And you can start to think about what does regulator mean? You can look at the word regulate, which is to control. So if we're talking about scuba diving and we're talking about controlling things, what do you need to control when you scuba dive? Well, you can't control the water. You can't control the fish. The only thing you control is your body? No, you do that. That's your brain. So the breathing. So a regulator is something that controls the air, and you can break it down like that. Context clues in the passage. When encountering an unfamiliar word while reading, look for surrounding clues to help determine. Pay attention to words, phrases, or sentences that prevent hints, especially when you're doing a reading test. They're going to drop hints and clues because they don't want to drop a word that is unknown by everyone. They want to give you little clues so you can understand. Also, analyzing word parts to determine. Breaking down unfamiliar words into their component parts can reveal things. So, for example, the word organic. Well, what word's in there? Organ, origin, beginnings. So something like that. You can start to look at it like that. Or you can break it down and think about words that are similar families. Roots and suffixes can help you decipher words you don't know. All right. Prefixes. So if it's re, un, and pre, they have, these are words, these are, how do you call these? Prefixes that have meanings, such as repetition, negation, unbelievable, overwhelming, underwhelming, never whelming, no one's whelming. But these prefixes can tell you what is going on. If it's modifying the meaning, so dis, miss, and sub can alter the core words, often in subtle ways, like disprove, not prove, understand, not understand. Sub basement, below the basement. How is that possible? I don't know. Sub usually means under. Prefixes of locations, inter, trans, and intra indicate relationships of locations. Um, Transnational, it means, going back and forth. Intermingle means interconnected. Internet. Intra is very specifically a very inclusive direction or position within a company. So look for that inside. So you have macro, micro, and mega. These give sizes. Microscope looks at very small things. Macroeconomics is wider things. Megalodon, no, that's just a huge shark. Well, that's big. Mega is big. So all of these these will give you clues about what the word's talking about. Is it talking about size, location, meaning, or adding meaning? All right. Look at the roots, such as fight, meaning, or bio. If the word has these words in it, it's kind of about sciencey stuff. If it has istic, it's going to have, scientific qualities. Chem, history, micro, stuff like that, terminology. Any ology is going to be kind of sciencey. You'll know this. A lot of English words derive from Greek and Latin words. So if you see that, no, it's going to be talking about something that's been around for a long time and not necessarily a new thing. Suffixes, so these are the ones at the end: full, less, I think you know this, and able, beautiful, full of beauty. I can't think of one with less. Let me think of a less. I can't think of a less. Mint or bull, able, transferable, able to transfer, things like that. And so by studying the suffixes, you can get an idea of what the words will change to. Derivational suffixes. So it changes. So if it's a verb and you want to make it a noun, you can add something like that. If it's an adjective and you want to make it a noun, you can add an tion. So you have, if you are someone who is dedicated, that's an adjective, but you show dedication. So you can look at these and it changes it allows you to change the meaning of the words from verbs or adjectives into nouns. Then you have inflectional suffixes. These are all grammatical. So they'll give you an idea if it's past tense, present tense, if it's first person, second person, things like that, in continuous. So they'll give you an idea if it's a verb, which will tell you it's an action. Or it could be a gerund. Swimming can be a gerund, but it'll give you an idea of basically what the word's going for. So when you're doing word analysis with unknown vocabulary, identify the word parts. Step 1, identify the word parts. Break down the unknown words into the prefix, root, and suffix to understand its meaning. Step 2, look at the prefix. Can you figure it out from the prefix? What's going on? Is it about direction? Is it about size? What's going on? Analyze the root word. Can you figure out what the word really means in and of itself? The root, where it's the history. All right. So strategies for improving vocabulary through context. Improve your vocabulary actively looking for context clues in the text that provides hints about unfamiliar words. Additionally, analyze the word parts, prefixes, roots, and suffixes. You'll start to break down the words, CSI it. That's what if you look at all the pictures in my slides, you'll see that they're detectives like Sherlock Holmes. You need to be like CSI and break it down into the parts and look for the fingerprints and look for the different little parts and figure out the whole picture that way. All right. I hope this video helps. If you have any questions or problems, as always, please let me know.